drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
Hello and welcome to Edupedia World.
In SQL Server, we used to write a web service. Like suppose in any database, we want to get the list of employees. So how we used to do it? Select star from table name, right? So similarly, we used to write the same thing in PHP. It will be a web service. So if I want to get the list of employees, then I used to write a service, a web service where I has to get a list of employees. Next operation. If I want to create a new entry through the UI, so I have to create a new OData service, like in the sense web service, where I can create a new record of employee. So there will be a one URL for list of employees and then another URL for create. Similarly, if you want to update any record, there will be a separate URL. And I used to write a separate code for that. And similarly for deletion. So when you have 4 different URLs and 4 different operations you are doing, and that is okay, fine, it is doing your job. But if you want to list the top 10 records or top 50 records, or you want to filter only in employee table, there are 100 fields. If you want to display only 50 fields, so how are you going to filter that? So everything you need to write a separate code for web service in PHP. But now what they have done is Microsoft have came up with OData service, where you don't have to write so many things. So the framework will itself take care of it. OData API itself will take care of it. You can pass queries, you can request for resources, you can do everything. Like top 50 rows, you can achieve it. So it can be done in .NET also. So see, so understanding there's a reason, we'll go through this 6 steps where you'll be understanding what is OData. Then we'll move on to how this OData is related to SAP and how SAP OData is related to our SAP of applications. That we'll see in this session throughout with a good example. So requesting resource. So how do we request resource? So there will be a basically a URL kind of like http service.odata.org so and so, and with a data model which is already there, which sits, and the OData version is 4.0, and like this. So HTTP request, always it has to be HTTP request. So the URL will be like this. And then next, so if you want to have an individual, see, we'll see this. So this is what getting the list of all people. So we'll try to run this and view the response. So this will give you the list of employees. So OData, the beauty of this OData is it can be in XML format and it can be in JSON format. Either it can be a JSON model or either it can be a XML model. So here this is a JSON model because I already installed JSON viewer, so it comes with JSON. See the people like first name, last name, username, email, this one. Okay, we'll discuss about this structure soon, But just see the URL. Just now, as of now, think that there's a URL for getting the list of people. And now next. So if you want to see a particular person record, then individual resource you want to request for. So here is the individual thing, Russell White. If you want to see this, you can have. See, if you want to, I'm pasting it and I'm going to execute. See, I'll see only that particular record. So first we have seen total list of people, then a particular resource we can request for. Done. So now here the beauty of OData comes into the picture, where you can pass queries. So what type of queries you can pass is, there is a list of document. You can have a look after seeing that documentation. If you, depending on your business requirement, you can have the OData service. So in this biggest requirement, we have a filter now. See, what is a filter? We want to see only top two rows, and then and means you're passing another query. Select, $select, and remember, always when you do any query, it always starts with dollar. Dollar metadata. Metadata gives all the meta information about that service. So $select. So when you say $select equal to first name, last name, that gives you the first name and last name itself. So in this fields, we'll go to the service. Just have a look. See, we want first name and last name. There is an email address info also, but we don't want that, right? So in that case, you have to form the URL in such a way that, like this, and the dollar filter equal to trips. Any trips can be anything. If there is a budget greater than 3,000, so if the trip price, the budget is greater than 3,000, we can have it. So I'll open it in a new tab so that it will be clear for us. Okay, only two particular records have been listed, Scott and Ronald, right? And only what we are seeing, first name and last name. What about the other fields? It has been hidden. And how these two records have come. So we'll see Scott and Ronald. So we'll see total people record and why Scott and, okay, Scott and Ronald. See. So Scott and Ronald are here. Okay. And where the budget is more than 3,000. So here is, so dollar filter trips any. So trips can be any. So we'll remove this dollar filter and we'll see what is happening. Okay, this dollar filter doesn't work because there is no particular field, but I don't know why they have given this budget. If you want to have any additional like budget, if you have any budget and if you want to have it greater than 3,000, you will give like this dollar filter. So you can filter it like passing a filter operator. Suppose if you have this list of people and you want to list only USA related, so you can have a dollar filter and this particular field, whatever the location, equal to US, so that US related people will be displayed here. Like that we can have a dollar filter. Just in this URL is trying to show you how the filter operator is used. That's it, nothing more than that, because they don't have any budget field here, so it doesn't show up. So for the budget field, then only greater than 3000 budget will be displayed. So these are the operator. GT means greater than. So there is a separate document for this. You can go through it. LT is less than, etc. So our main concentration in this session is understand basic of ODATA, and will develop a SAP UI5 application only related to ODATA. That we're gonna see it today, right? So this is how you write. And how do you create a new resource? So this is how you create a new resource. So in previous session we have discussed the postman, right? So in this postman you have to just use this URL, and there is nothing but this payload you have to pass to create a new entry. So create has been done. Now relating resources. So what is this relating resources is, visually in the resources there will be a dependent with each other. Okay, in the concept of relationships we have additional features where we can relate resources. So that will be like this. See, people, right? Yeah. So in this people we have a trips. So there are two things which we are trying to display in one URL. See, oh, there's some error. See, this OData service doesn't exist. Or Lewis back is not there. So slash trips and references. See, this particular Russell we are having a trips. So if you say slash trips, then this particular person trips will be displayed here. So here we have something called budget. See, if budget is greater than 3000, we have. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to people and trips. See, if you see in a database point of view, there will be two tables. One is employee table, another one is trips table. So you are just joining this both and getting the information here. So from employee table, you are picking an employee, and trips table, you are picking this particular person's trips. So that is what. So he had a trip to New York, he has a trip to China, etc. Right? So this is how you can link also. So that is what it says. Step number 5. You can relate resources. And then next, the last one, the beautiful thing, that you can invoke a function also. You can invoke a function. Like what it does is, you can have your custom function available here. So mainly we don't use this, but you can, if anything, if your project demands a function, or you can invoke. But betterly, like what we do is we write the functions inside the JavaScript. Okay, whatever you want to do any operation, so that we can do. or else you can directly call the function like this. Still trip, we understood, right? Still trip 0, so 0 trip, and we are invoking a function. So these are the 6 basic things of OData service. So now hope you have a basic understanding of OData service. So now what we see is how the OData is all about. Okay, so we already seen a JSON format and XML format. We know what is entity types, entity sets. So in entity type, we have like this: username, first name are nothing but entity types. Like we say field names. So whenever I talk about field names or entity types, then properties, then it will refer to this first name, last name, etc. And the property value, field value, or anytime they say entity type value, then this is a value. Okay, for first name, it is Russell, last name, etc. And there is something called deep entity set. People talk a lot about this deep entity set. So what is deep entity set is, already there is an entity set. Entity set gives you the list of data. So suppose this is a value is an entity set, right? So this value, you have information like first name, last name, emails is a list of array, that's fine. But when it comes to address info is another entity set because it has a list of entity types. So entity types, entity set relationship is list of entity types is collection of entity types is entity set. So entity set inside entity set is deep entity set. Okay, so here address info as a address and city, and this city also an entity set. Inside this city we have country, region, name and region. Okay, we'll have an overall picture. Entity set is a value, and inside this value we have username, first name, last name. Address info is because it has a list of entity types like address, city, country, region, name, etc. And then gender is a normal entity type. Concurrency also entity type. Clear? So this is how the format will be basically. And when you say trip pin service RW, there is a service name, and this is a host name, and then this is a relative path to your entity set, and then people. The next thing is we want to know how many types of how many entity sets are there, what are the properties of this, so that you can have as a meta information. So meta information is a helpful information where you can get all the information about the entity sets. So how you're going to do is you can use dollar $metadata. See, dollar $metadata has, see, this gives you complete information. Yeah, of this service. So like this we will be accessing OData service. So now next, how it is related to SAP now. So I have good experience with SAP. Now SAP is totally moving on to OData services, whether it can be any mobile application or any UI application. They are they are using this OData itself. So how you gonna do, or how you gonna check the OData services inside your SAP login? As an ABAP developer, you might be familiar with ABAP, Workbench, etc. So what you have to do is you have to go to the SAP logon, and then you can double click any of it. Then you'll get this username and password you give. Once you're trying to do, and then SEGW, so it gives you the list of information, and then this gives you the list of projects which are available. So what we have to do is you can go to this particular project, and there's a OData services. This is how they develop. Okay, now you want to go to this particular, if you want to close this particular project, you can close it, or service maintenance. So we'll go to the service maintenance. So once you see in service, okay, there will be a maintain service. So you have to go to that maintenance service, and then you have to call the browser gateway client. So activate and maintain service. So once you double click this, okay, so what is this transaction is? SCGW is for to get the list of projects, and if you want to develop any OData service, you have to do it with SCGW. SCGW is service gateway. SEGW, gateway developer. So you can do that to maintain services. So once you do it in SCGW, then your service will come here. These are the list of services. All right. So any list of service, if you want to activate, say ZSRA SRV, you want to see, click on this and call browser you can do, or gateway client. It's good to have a gateway client so that you can check it in your SAP system itself, the service. So once you click on gateway client, it will be navigating to this page. So here you'll get HTTP response, and here if you want to pass any request like payload for creating any entry, will pass a payload, right? So like that, if you want to pass, you can pass it here, and the response will come here. So if you say execute, so it will be executing this particular service. This is executed. So you got, so always it will come in a XML format. So if you want to see it in a JSON format, then this dollar format is nothing but another query. It's a parameter we have to pass, like XML or JSON. So I want to see the data in JSON format. So I have to do a dollar format equal to JSON, and then I have to add this header. Application type is JSON. Then you'll see the data is in JSON. Okay, and I get another executed. So once I get executed, see, I got the list of data in JSON format. See, we have to check always status code and status reason. Okay, if it is 200, then you have executed correctly and you got the correct output. So real. Or if you want to see the list of entity set here only without executing it, you can do that directly. List of, let's see. And if you want to see a list of customers, click here and then execute. Once you execute, see, this comes. So there is some error in this. So like this you'll get, because error, internal error. So I just wanted to show you how when the error comes, the status code changes, right? So 500 is we haven't implemented this yet. So there is an internal server error. So you can check similarly the other entity sets. So this is how you go and use it in your SAP logon. Through SAP, if you want to see the service, so whenever you talk about ODATA service in SAP, you can check like this. So we'll go back to our ODATA. So now what we do is we'll take one service and we'll be using that service in our application. We'll see that. So first we have to go, first before developing the service, we need, before creating a project, we need a URL. So in our project, I'm going to take one URL because I have already developed it and I'm going to use the same URL. So this URL who will be giving you? So this URL, the OData developer will give you. Suppose you are developing an application. So you'll be giving you a URL. So you'll be basically giving you data services, web services. That is nothing but OData service. So in our project, we're going to use this OData service. So .svc. So it is nothing but execute this. We get the list of entity set, right? So this is in XML. So we always see why XML, why JSON. We're going to see that. See, whenever we make a request, like service request, we got XML information. So when we click on here, and we'll see the response body and a preview and header. So once we see the header, what is the content length? 607. And what is it content type? Application XML, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm dollar format. I'm going to add equal to JSON. And whenever I pass the parameters like this, query parameters, I have to use question mark. Okay, I've used a question mark. It's a list of entity sets, right? And I'm going to see this JSON one. So this is a JSON one. See, what was the length there? It was 60, right? See, now the content type length is 186. So which is bigger? JSON is a bigger file, right? So like the reason, like by default they use XML. So XML is a lightweight. So if you want to execute this service in another tab, you can see the difference. So when I press F12, it goes to console. So whenever I talk about F12, think that it's console. So this is XML service 607. So the content type is more, and but the length is, here it is less. And the XML is very lightweight, they say, and it is very much gives you the information, the connection, etc. So here the length will be very less, the JSON. So you only see what you require. That's the reason, like as a human reading, they prefer JSON. Like it will be easy for you. Like see, you can clearly now say that okay, D is entity set, and entity sets a list of entity sets. That is nothing but product categories and suppliers. So like that. So now I'll take the products example, and we're gonna see how this is. So products, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it here. So the first thing, now I got the list of products. So I'm going to display this list of products in a table in ODATA. So how we gonna do it? I'll take a list of I'm going to take a new project, SAPUI5 project, say next, and it's M project only I'm taking. I'm going to take an initial view, ODATA, ODATA project. I'll say next, and I'm going to take XML view. I'm going to write it here. ODATA. Say finish. So this gives you a basic folder structure. So by default, this page appears. So we'll write, what we do is we'll create a sample table, and inside the table we're gonna use this service. So the service is already existing here. So we're gonna display all this. So first we'll take the data because I've already done. So I'm going to make use of that. First, in the view. So in the view, we're gonna tab table. So how this table will be inside this. I'm taking a table. Okay, and I'm going to take three buttons. One is to create, one is to change, and another one is to delete the entry. So I'm going to take this as an example, and I'm going to paste it here. So what I have done, we'll see. First, the page. So the page will be having a title. So I'm going to change the title to ODATA example. And then a table with the ID products table. So insert false, and we have items. So what will be the items? We'll see later, because here we have D. Inside this D we have a rows, right? So why have given items? We'll have a look later. First, initially we have to read this D, and we have ID, name, description, result date, discontinued date, rating, and price. So what are the things I'm going to display now? We'll see that. So just don't worry about these items. As of now, items are list of items we can display. So if you want to repeat, there is a D there, right? So where here D as a multiple rows. If you want to repeat this, that time we use slash and entity set, right? So D is an entity set. So similarly, I have something called products as entity set. What I have written, we'll see that. And the next, header toolbar. So in the header toolbar, I'm going to display just a product name. And then I'm going to create columns now with first column with product name, and the width is 12 em, and the next product name column name will be description. So minimum screen width is tablet. So why do we write this is for working in tablet. So our target audience is tablet. If you write phone, your target audience will be phone. So the screen will be automatically adjusted. So you might have this question like SAP.m is already there. So why we need to write explicitly minimum screen width tablet? Yeah, that is true. SAP.m. Whatever controls we use, that is for mobile for sure. But when you say minimum screen width tablet, so the sizes, so here you have mentioned 12 em, right? Here for description size, it will take tablet size. Whatever the tablet size is there, according to that, it will take. So explicitly, you don't have to write width. If you want, for sure, you need a width 12 em, doesn't matter, it is in tablet, phone, or desktop. Then you need to give explicitly the property called width, and you have to set the size of that width. Minimum screen width tablet, and then h-align right. So I want something to be right, and text is rating. Okay. Yeah, so we have taken rating, and another column we have taken price, and we want align to be center, and minimum screen width is tablet. And why we are using demand pop-in? That should be a good question, because how it works is by default this property will be false. So whenever we open, when we set minimum screen width tablet, so according to the screen size, this column will be hidden. In general, it will be hidden because it doesn't fit into this screen, so it will be hidden. So what we have to do is we have to use this property demand pop-in equal to true. So whenever this column is hidden, that time it will appear as a pop-in. So that's the reason we have to give this property and set it to true. So we have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So under this 5 columns, we want to repeat the rows. So what values we want to repeat? That we can decide it in the next items.